You walk into a cathedral, and you feel small. You didn't choose to feel small. The building chose for you. The ceiling is 100 feet above your head. The columns are thicker than any tree you've ever seen. The silence is enforced by the weight of all that stone. A courtroom makes you feel judged. A throne room makes you feel small. A hall of mirrors makes you feel like you're everywhere and nowhere at once. Every room is a belief system made visible. The architect drew the walls, and the walls drew the boundaries of what you could imagine. And the largest room of all is the one you never notice you're inside. The architecture of the world you were born into, the rooms, the streets, the walls, the invisible paths you didn't choose to walk. A prison cell says, you are contained. The walls are close. The window is small. The room is a sentence. A palace hall says, you are a guest in someone else's power. The distance between you and the throne is measured in more than meters. A classroom says, you are here to be shaped. The desks face one direction. The chairs are bolted to the floor. The arrangement is the curriculum. A hospital room says, you are a body to be fixed. The white walls are the color of sterility. The bed is the center of the universe, and you are not in control of it. A factory floor says, you are a function. The machines are the reason the room exists. You are here to serve them. A library says, you are small, compared to what has been thought. The shelves stretch beyond what you can see. The silence is the sound of all those voices waiting. A theater says, you are an audience. The stage is raised. The seats are arranged. You came to watch, not to act. But you don't just walk through one room in your life. You walk through hundreds, and each one leaves its mark on you. You move from the classroom to the office to the home to the store. Each room has its own rules. Each room has its own shape. And after enough rooms, you stop noticing that the walls are there at all. You start to think the shape of the room is the shape of the world. The city is a political argument carved in stone. A Roman forum was a space designed for persuasion. The columns, the rostra, the open plaza, every element was a stage for speech. A medieval walled city was a space designed for defense. The walls defined who was inside and who was outside. The gates were the only points of passage. A modern grid city is a space designed for efficiency. The straight lines say, there is a shortest path between any 2 points. Take it, don't wander. A suburb says, this is the good life. The lawns are green. The houses are the same. The quiet is the point. A slum says, the city was not designed for you. The streets are not on the map. The infrastructure is invisible because it was built for someone else. Every city has gates. Some are stone, some are invisible. The gate is not just an entrance, it's a filter. It decides who passes and who doesn't. A plaza says, this is where the city meets itself. The open space is the city's lungs. Everything flows through it. An alley says, this is not a destination. You pass through here on your way to somewhere else. The alley is a connection, not a place. A highway says, keep moving. The road is the only constant. The exits are choices, but the road itself is inevitable. And the city has 1,000 paths, but you can only walk one. And the path you choose is shaped by the paths you can see. But the city is not the only architecture. Underneath the city, beneath the streets, below the foundations, there is another architecture, the invisible one. The aqueduct is the perfect metaphor. You see the arches, you see the stone, but the real work happens inside the channel. The water follows the path that was carved for it. The water doesn't know there are other paths. Beneath every city is a second city. Pipes, cables, tunnels, foundations. The infrastructure that makes the visible city possible. You never see it. You never think about it. A map is an architecture of knowledge. The lines on the paper define what is known and what is unknown. Terra incognita is not just blank space. It's a statement. A family tree is an architecture of belonging. The branches define who you are related to. The shape of the tree is the shape of your obligations. Language is an architecture of thought. The words you have are the thoughts you can think. If there is no word for a feeling, do you still feel it, or does the feeling remain unbuilt? Money is an architecture of value. The coin is not the value. It's a symbol for the value. The system is the belief. The currency is the architecture. Time is an architecture of experience. The clock divides the day into hours. The hours divide your life into tasks. The bell tells you when to begin and when to stop. The calendar is the architecture of the year. The months are rooms. The seasons are wings of the building. You move through them in order, and you cannot skip ahead. The most powerful architecture is the kind you can't see. The walls made of assumption. The bars made of belief. The cell you don't know you're in. You can see the sky, you can see the horizon, but you don't look. The walls are invisible, but they are still walls. The view is permitted, but the exit is not. The water only follows the channel until the channel breaks. But the channel doesn't break by accident. Something has to crack the stone. Imagine a room with no windows. A perfect circle. The walls are smooth. The ceiling is high. The only light comes from an opening far above, too high to reach. This is the chamber of assumptions. You are born into it. You grow up in it. The walls define the limits of your world. The light tells you there is something above, but you cannot reach it. The walls are covered in the writing of those who came before. Every inscription is an assumption. Every symbol is a belief. You read them because everyone before you read them. You begin to believe the chamber is all there is. The walls are not walls. They are the edge of existence. The light is not a window. It is the sun. And then one day you start to walk the edge. You run your hand along the stone. You feel for a crack, a seam, a door you might have missed. And you find it. A seam, so fine you could have missed it. A door that was always there, but so perfectly fitted to the wall that it was invisible. The door has always been there. You were never trapped. You were never imprisoned. You were simply unaware. But awareness is not the same as escape. Seeing the door is not the same as walking through it. The architecture of belief is not a cage you can simply leave, because on the other side of the door is another room. And beyond that room, another. And beyond that, a city. And beyond the city, a world of invisible architectures. The chamber is not the enemy. The chamber is the beginning. The question is not whether you can leave. The question is whether you can learn to see the walls. There is a narrow door. It is not hidden. It is not locked, but it is narrow. Most people walk past it without seeing it because they are looking for a grand entrance. The path to the narrow door is not a straight line. It winds through terrain you didn't expect. The path itself is part of the architecture. It is designed to wear down the certainty you started with. To walk through the narrow door, you must leave behind the things that made you who you are. The beliefs that shaped you. The assumptions that protected you. The architecture that raised you. The wall is not a wall. It is the accumulated weight of everything you have been told. The gate is not a gate. It is the moment when you decide to question it. Your hand reaches toward the light. Everything you know is behind you. Everything you could become is ahead. But the space between is narrow. And then you step through, and the light is blinding. And you cannot see what is on the other side. And for a moment, you are between worlds. You turn around and look back. The wall you walked through is visible from this side. The door is clear, but from the other side, it was invisible. The architecture of belief works the same way. You can only see it from the outside. While you are inside, it is not architecture. It is reality. The aqueduct is not one arch. It is a system, a network of channels and bridges and tunnels that carries water across a continent. The architecture of belief is the same. It is not one assumption. It is a system. And the question is not whether you can find the door. The question is whether you are willing to keep walking through them, one by one, for the rest of your life. What is the architecture of your belief? Not the beautiful one, the one you chose. The invisible one, the one you were born into. The city you live in, the room you sleep in, the language you think in, the assumptions you don't know you're making because they are the walls of the room you've never left. You cannot see the architecture while you are inside it. The only way to see it is to leave. But leaving requires seeing the door. And the door is invisible until you are ready to walk through it. The water only follows the channel until the channel breaks. And the channel only breaks when the water is ready to find its own way.